Question of Samadhi. Okay. So question. So your Doctor, your question is, Ramana Maharshi says, what is it?
Shastra learning itself is a vasana.
Shastra learning is a vasana.
Realization is only in Samadhi, Ramana.
Realization is only in Samadhi. So this is Ramana Maharshi's comment. The comment is, Shastra learning is a vasana. Realization is in Samadhi. So now, let us understand what Ramana Maharshi is saying. Shastra learning is vasana. There are different types of Shastras. Right? Scriptures, which are for rituals, study of Vedas, Vedanga, different types of scriptures are there. Then there are scriptures for Atma Dhyana, Atma Vichara. So there are many people who are involved in continuous study of Shastras, scriptures. So that becomes a vasana, because the purpose of study of scriptures is finally from Karma Kanda to Karma Yoga to Upasana Kanda to Jnana Yoga. So Jnana Yoga involves study of Upanishads, Vedanta. So Ramana Maharshi, when he says study of Shastra is a vasana, it involves study of Shastras or scriptures which are not related to moksha.
I see.
Not related to liberation. Okay, the moksha Shastra, the Shastras which are related to liberation are called Upanishads or Vedanta. The Vedanta means end of Vedas, end of knowledge. Vedanta is a moksha Shastra. So Ramana Maharshi is speaking of Shastras or scriptures which are not related to moksha. That's first thing. Then second thing, even Vedanta or Upanishad, people can do a scholarly study. I want to learn Vedanta. They can make it as a more of a study. I know so many Upanishads, I know this meaning, get into more of a scholarly understanding. So people can get lost in Vedanta also. The purpose of Vedanta is not adding knowledge to yourself. It's not more addition to knowledge. It's an enquiry. It's a Brahma Vichara. The purpose of Vedanta is enquiry into Brahman or enquiry into self, Atma Vichara. There are three aspects, what we call as Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. A systematic inquiry into the nature of Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara is called Brahma Vichara. Out of the focused inquiry into the nature of self, Jiva Vichara, is called self-enquiry. So, the purpose of Vedanta Shastra is the enquiry. Now, what is the purpose of enquiry? The purpose of enquiry is to end of knowledge. Realize the end of knowledge or Veda Anta. How does the knowledge end? The end of knowledge is told beautifully in a Upanishad, a conversation between the Rishi Shvetaketu and his father Uddalaka. Shvetaketu comes to his father saying, I know everything. I've studied in Gurukula for many years. I was a ranked student. The Uddalaka asks him, O Shvetaketu, knowing which you know everything, have you studied that? Do you know that? Uddalaka says, Shvetaketu says, I don't know. So knowing which, by you know everything, is called Atma Dhyana or Brahma Dhyana. Knowing which you know everything is called Atma Dhyana or Brahma Dhyana. So if Atma Dhyana or Brahma Dhyana is the end of knowledge, knowing which you know everything to be known, how is it possible? If you know gold, you know all chain, necklace, ring, all those things which are nothing but forms of gold. If you know gold, you know everything, every form of gold. Similarly, if you know water, wave, bubble, foam, all forms of water are known. Because water is the essence of all. Gold is the essence of necklace, chain, ring. So know the essence, then you know everything. That's the meaning. So now, by knowing which, I know everything. Then my knowledge ends. This is the end of knowledge. By knowing Brahman, the knowledge ends. End of knowledge. Because all that is there in existence is Brahman. The trees, plants, sun, moon, mountain, valley, living beings, non-living beings, everything is nothing but Brahman only. Like water is nothing but wave, foam, and bubble. Like gold is nothing but chain, ring, necklace. Gold appears as chain, ring, necklace. So everything is an appearance of Brahman. If you know Brahman, you know everything to be known. Then there's the end of knowledge. There's nothing more to be known, because other than Brahman, nothing is there. Now the challenge here is Brahman cannot be known. Brahman is not an object to be known. I can know physics, chemistry, mathematics. They are all subjects. They're about objective science. I can know about them. How can I know Brahman? If I know Brahman, then knowing Brahman means being Brahman. Knowing Brahman is not known as an objective knowledge. Knowing Brahman is recognizing my self, Atma, is Brahman. I am Atma, Brahma. Myself is Brahman. That recognition is called knowing Brahman. Brahman is recognizing that Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman.
Is it more subjective then?
No, we'll come to that. Right? Aham Brahmasmi. I am Atma Brahma. Sarvam Khalu is Brahma. Knowing this is called Brahmadnana. Once you have Brahmadnana, you know everything. Does it mean that he knows physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics, engineering? Suddenly does he know he starts driving aircraft? It is not that. He knows that I am Brahman and I am the self of the universe. It's called Sarvatma Bhava. Sarvam Khaluidam Brahma. Everything is Brahman. So for him, there's no subject-object duality. So that way, knowing Brahman is the end of knowledge, because there's nothing else to be known. So in that situation, Shastra is not a Vasana. Somebody inquires into Vedanta to find out who am I, to realize I am Brahman. It's not Shastra Vasana. But if you keep on studying Vedanta, more as a scholarly study, more to acquire knowledge, then it becomes a Shastra Vasana. One of the persons came to me, I want a blessing. What is blessing? I am studying scriptures. My guru has written some 68 or 78 scriptures. I have only studied 38. Before I die, I want to study 68. He thinks that studying Vedanta, studying scriptures is like acquiring degree. It's a Shastra Vasana. It's accumulation knowledge. Right? So, if somebody says, okay, I have studied 5 Upanishads, I have studied 10 Upanishads, I have 108 Upanishads, I have studied 78 Upanishads. Okay? He's happy that he has he has knowledge, so many Upanishads, then it's called Shastra Vasana. It's not accumulation of knowledge. It's the inquiry into nature of self, nature of Brahman, to realize I am Brahman. This is called Atma Darshanam, Brahma Darshanam, Satya Darshanam. Atma Darshanam is inquiry into my nature. Who am I? Then I realize I am consciousness. Inquire into the world, universe. what is there in the universe? Essence of the universe is existence. Consciousness and existence is one reality, and that, if that realization is there, it's called Brahman realization. So if somebody studies scriptures for purpose of getting rid of doubts, inquiry into self, it's not a Shastra Vasana. But if somebody studies scripture for accumulation of knowledge, it becomes Shastra Vasana. So that's what Ramana says. Study of scripture is Shastra Vasana. First part of the question. Second part of the question is, Ramana says, Samadhi is realization. See, when Sri Ramana Maharshi says Samadhi is realization, we'll get some doubt. Ramana Maharshi has defined Samadhi very clearly in some other talk. What is Samadhi? Ramana Maharshi defines two types of Samadhi. Kevala Nirvikalpa Samadhi and Sahaja Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Kevala Nirvikalpa Samadhi means temporary absorption of mind. Sahaja Nirvikalpa Samadhi is realization. So when Ramana Maharshi says Samadhi is realization, he is speaking of Sahaja Samadhi as realization, not Kevala Nirvikalpa. So there are two types of Samadhi. Kevala Nirvikalpa, Sahaja Samadhi. Kevala means temporary. Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So the Ramana Maharshi gives a clear understanding of what is Kevala Nirvikalpa also. Kevala Nirvikalpa, there is no enlightenment. It's a temporary absorption of the mind into the self. It is more like a deep sleep state. It's very close to deep sleep state. In deep sleep state, there is no jnana, further jnana. In deep sleep state, you are Brahman only. Okay? But the wisdom has to be understood. I am Brahman in the waking state, not in the deep sleep state. Deep sleep state, you don't have ability of getting any knowledge. Knowledge or inquiry has to be done in the waking state. The Adnana is in the waking state. That Adnana has to be removed. So that way, you have to do inquiry. Who am I? Inquiry. Or Atma Anatma Viveka, Nitya Anitya Viveka. You have to do in the waking state. Jagrata Avastha. So now many people enter into Kevala Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Various techniques, yogis enter into that. Ramana Maharshi clearly says Kevala Nirvikalpa Samadhi is not what he is speaking of. He gives an example also. One yogi was meditating near a riverbed. There is a flood. He gets submerged in the river. So after many days, people, before going to Samadhi, he told his Shishya to get one glass of water. Shishya goes to get a glass of water into the village. By the time he comes back, already there is a flood and the yogi is submerged. After a couple of days, people try to dig sand and lift the buried yogi. When the yogi comes out, he was in Samadhi, they wake him up. When he wakes up, yogi says, where is my water? In Samadhi, there is no jnana. Last thought was water. First thought is water. There's no wisdom or enlightenment. So Ramana Maharshi is not speaking of that type of Samadhi. It's called Jara Samadhi. So Ramana Maharshi says, Kevala Nirvikalpa Samadhi, Kevala Nirvikalpa Samadhi, Kevala Nirvikalpa Samadhi is where mind gets submerged in the Atma with the light, with the understanding I am going to Atma. So Nirvikalpa Samadhi is similar to sleep. In sleep, yogi goes into Samadhi without knowing I am Atma, Brahman. In Nirvikalpa Samadhi, yogi goes into sleep-like state with no knowledge that I am Brahman. But that still doesn't remove the ignorance. The ignorance can be removed only through self-enquiry. And the Samadhi established by self-enquiry is called Sahaja Samadhi. Inquiring, who am I? That Samadhi, Ramana Maharshi called Sahaja Samadhi. What is Sahaja Samadhi? Sahaja Samadhi is in the waking state, dream state, deep sleep state, I am Brahman. Waking state, dream state, deep sleep states are mithya, unreal. So I am always Brahman. That understanding clarity is called Samadhi. A yogi in Sahaja Samadhi can work with open eyes in the world, but still he is aware he is Brahman. So a state of a yogi in such a state is like a man goes to office. In the office he is an officer. In the home he is a husband. To his children his father. But he never forgets he is a man. He doesn't have to remember. A yogi in Sahaja Samadhi doesn't have to remember he is Brahman. He is Brahman naturally. Just like I am the body, I am a man or woman. Yogi in Sahaja Samadhi is established fully in Brahman. It does not matter what work he does. Whereas a Keval Nirvikalpa Samadhi, you have to close your eyes, enter into sleep-like state. So your Keval Nirvikalpa Samadhi helps in reducing vasanas. But Sahaja Samadhi is attained through Atma Vichara, self-enquiry. Self-enquiry alone can lead to Sahaja Samadhi. So that's why I want to classify. Ramana Maharshi has given two classifications, Kevala Nirvikalpa and Sahaja Nirvira. I want to call Samadhis two types. Samadhi as Kevala Nirvikalpa, Nirvikalpa Samadhi, which is like what? Where there's no jnana, but helps in reduction of vasanas. Samadhi is useful, but it will help in reduction of vasanas. Whereas Sahaja Samadhi or natural state is called Nirvikalpa Jnana. Nirvikalpa Jnana is arrived at by inquiring who am I, Atma Anatma Viveka, Nitya Anitya Viveka, and getting established I am Brahman very clearly in the waking state, dream state, deep sleep state. Does it answer your question?
Yeah. So what Ramana Sahaja Savika Nirvikalpa Samadhi is the second one you mentioned, right? Wherein you are in that state all the time.
So anybody has a question on Zoom? Anybody have a question on Zoom? You can ask question.
Besides this,
Wait. This question, if anybody has, yes. Go ahead.
Besides understanding your Atma, whatever the scriptural part required for Atma Vichara, that is what is necessary. But any of the other Shastras will help in Nididhyasa.
No.
Okay.
So is there any Shastra which will help in Nididhyasa? No. Vedanta Shastra or Moksha Shastra is helpful in Nididhyasa. Any Moksha Shastra is helpful.
They're all contained in the same thing.
Same. Other Shastras are available. See, question is, any other Shastra helps in Nididhyasa? Vedanta Shastra and associate texts will help in Nididhyasa and Sahaja Samadhi. Are there any other texts which are there? Many other texts are there. Some are bhakti oriented, some are yoga oriented. They are there. They all support to finally come to Vedanta. But clear Vedanta is direct path to realization through Jnana.
Now, when you say Moksha Shastra, you're referring to, or can you name them like what the Gaudapada, that's related.
Moksha Shastra. What is Moksha Shastra? Moksha Shastra are Upanishad. Upanishads of various Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharvaveda, Upanishads are Moksha Shastra. Because moksha is possible only when Jivatma Paramatma Ekatvam is realized. Any text which speaks of Jivatma Paramatma Ekatva is a Moksha Shastra. Bhagavad Gita is Yoga Shastra and Moksha Shastra. Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastra. Bhagavad Gita treats Brahma Vidya, Yoga Shastra. Brahma Vidya means Moksha Shastra. So it tells yoga also, process also. So like that, Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Sutra, Upanishads, and some supplementary texts somebody has written, the authors have written, those texts are Moksha Shastra. Shankaracharya has written some Prakarana Granthas, they are Moksha Shastra. Then Advaita Makaranda, something like that, they are Moksha Shastra. Anything which relates to the same, relates to Vedanta is called Moksha Shastra. Moksha Shastra, by definition, Jivatma Paramatma Ekatvam has to be clearly
Discussed or defined.
discussed or defined or inquired into. So the question is, all the Shastras are useful or useless? Many of them are there. They are not useless. See, everybody, a person in the spiritual journey has to go through various stages. Like a child has to go to primary school, middle school, high school, college. So now, for a beginner, Shastras related to Karma Kanda, rituals are very useful. He is a beginner. He goes through initial stages. And Karma Kanda related Shastras in Vedas is 95% is Karma Kanda related Shastras. It's huge. Do this ritual, that ritual, they are all helpful. Karma Kanda is helpful to develop a discipline in life, to get some success in life, it's helpful. And 95% Vedas, huge amount of literature is Karma Kanda. It's useful because at that stage of life, I want to do rituals. Why doing rituals? Get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, do this japa, do this tapa. A tremendous amount of discipline comes into life. Then by doing this, you'll get success in life. It'll help in success. So that Karma Kanda is useful initially. Then Karma Kanda, person from Karma Kanda, somebody has to turn to Karma Yoga. Then Yoga Shastra is useful. Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Kriya Yoga, Yoga Shastra is useful. Then he has to go into Upasana, meditation. Upasana Kanda related Shastra is useful. So now all this Karma Kanda, Upasana, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Upasana helps somebody to develop discipline and purify the mind, Chitta Shuddhi. In that sense, they are all useful up to that point. So beyond that point, what is useful is now he has to go into Moksha Shastra, realization. Moksha Shastra is Vedanta. So it is not that Shastras are not useful. It's just that the Shastras have a prescription for various stages of spiritual journey. Is the answer clear?
Yeah, correct. I think this is the same kind of follow. There's another statement. In a spiritual journey, one must know when to discard the books. So that kind of ties into the same thing.
Who's saying that?
I don't know which book I said. I just wrote it down.
Okay. So the follow-up question is, in spiritual journey, one should know when to discard books. See, this question of when to discard books, in the modern day world, we call knowledge as power. The more somebody has knowledge, more is somebody considers powerful. Right? Vedanta or scriptures are not about power through acquiring knowledge. It is by inquiring into knowledge. So the Vedanta books have to be discarded means you have to close the books, do manana, shravana you have to do. This is not about books at all. Actually, if somebody has written about books, I don't think Vedanta never speaks of books. So it must be some modern author who is saying about books. I don't think it's right understanding. Vedanta is always shravana, listen to Guru. It's not about reading books. Manana, contemplate on the truth, and nididhyasa, go inwards, assimilate the truth. That's Vedanta process. So now, at what point I would stop study of scriptures? Vedanta says Shravana, Manana, Nidhyasa is a continuous process until you are fully established Brahman. Somebody says, you should know when to stop the reading books. I think you should stop reading the books in the very beginning. Vedanta is not about reading the books at all. Vedanta is Shravana. Is it clear?
Yeah. And yet the other one was also, multiple lives.
So then there's a question. Ramana Maharshi himself never studied any Shastra, including your Moksha Shastra. Who said so? Who says so? Ramana Maharshi said he not studied Moksha Shastra. Ramana Maharshi, if you ask any talk, he clearly quotes Shankara's Viveka Chodamani. He clearly quotes Vedanta. Ramana Maharshi has not studied any Moksha Shastra, maybe in this life. I don't know whether he has studied in past life. What is said? What is that said? Wait. What is said? What is said is what? I didn't understand the question. There's a question on Zoom. What is? Ramana never studied Moksha Shastra. Which life? Ramana is what Ramana Maharshi is in this life. All studies he has completed in earlier life. If Ramana, whatever Ramana takes, perfect teaching of Vedanta. How do you say it's not studied Veda Shastra, Moksha Shastra? Okay, you have a question. What is the question? And Ramana Maharshi quotes from Viveka Chodamani, Ramana Maharshi quotes from Ribhu Gita, Ramana Maharshi quotes from on Bhagavad Gita. It is not that he has not studied in this life. It doesn't mean he has not studied. Okay. Yes, Maitri.
So I remember in the last Shivratri there was a drama which happened about Ashtavakra.
Okay.
So Ashtavakra is a highly learned soul who goes to Janaka Raja's kingdom and teaches everyone about the jnana he has, and he becomes a part of the kingdom.
Right.
And he teaches Janaka Raja also. While there is a queen who another scholar who comes and questions him more, and he gets shocked that he doesn't know something, and then this lady tells him to go to Janaka Raja to learn again. So is it possible that someone who's a jnani who gets enlightened falls back to
Not sure what question you're asking. What is the question?
so is there a possibility that a jnani can get enlightened and fall back in his understanding as he goes